This is the Weigh In Podcast by Benoit Chestnut and the occasional pop-in Sebastian Romero, and we would like to welcome you to the second annual Men's Division One Wrestling Weigh-In Draft Recap. Now, why I say recap is because we've already done the draft off camera, and now we're providing you the recap. I know, we did this rather quickly with our brackets have been released, and we do got a little nice message to get in the beginning of the epi for all those wrestling in the New Jersey states. I know a lot of people have talked about that. We'll do a little bit of a mental wrestle, but good luck to all the wrestlers in the New Jersey State Championships, and good luck to all. You know, we understand by the time this video may or may not go up, depending on our posting, some might have already hit the mat and already wrestled, where others may or may not have. Well, it is what it is. Well, pretty much everybody should have hit the mat, but you know how it is. But nonetheless, that is this week's Takedown Thursdays. Good luck to all in a state tournament, anywhere and everywhere. That is this week's Takedown Thursday. And if we jump right into this one, first we're going to talk about our drafting of, well, the mental wrestler. For all those at states, best of luck to them. We have a few of our weigh-in podcast fans are wrestling in the state tournament, and they've actually, they reached out and wanting a good luck, and many of them wanted shout outs, but we kind of steered away from doing any shout outs, and we're just kind of here on the mental. This is the best piece of advice I have. We always say we're not mental health professionals, but the best piece I could say is don't be so much worried about what your opponent has and has done this season. Be worried about the things you can do, and that's making your own history. And I say that because it doesn't matter if your guy beat 5 number 1 wrestlers or 8 number 1 wrestlers. That doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. And that's the best piece of advice I could give you. It doesn't matter. You've got a 6-minute period, 3 2-minute periods, 3 periods lasting 2 minutes each. You've got 2 minutes. You got each period to prove why you're better. For some of our big weigh-in fan, they're gonna make a lot of noise in this march. They're gonna make a lot of noise, and I believe some of them will be very satisfied with their performances. But I say this the best way possible. It's only up from here. Don't be worried about what your guy or gal has done. Don't worry how many number 1s they beat or how many second place, times they take second. That matters state place winner. Anybody can get beat. And the right amount of wrestling, when you wrestle your match, anybody can get beat. And that's just what I wanted to give everybody, just to stay prepped, stay prepared. And, sometimes it's not always bad to throw a kitchen sink, but as long as you know what you're doing while you throw that sink, there could be good things. So now if we go over what most would have clicked on this for, is that NCAA draft. I'm going to give you my picks on NCAA. So I think at 125, I think Nick Bouzakis is going to win. At 133, I think Jack Forrest. At 141, I think Jesse Mendez. 149, I got Jackson Joy winning. 157, I got PJ Duke. 165, I got Mitch Messenbrink. 174, I think Levi Haynes is going to get it, but, we all know anything can happen. At 184, 80 Den Sinclair of Missouri, I think is going to win. 197, I think Josh Barr. And at heavyweight, originally, I thought, Nick Feldman or Isaac Tumble. Heavyweight, I'm going to go AJ Ferrari. I do think AJ Ferrari could do it. I think he could make some noise. So my heavyweight is AJ Ferrari. Now, the second of what you might have clicked on the video for, and that is these teams. So Let's get into that. Let's get into it. So Team Chestnut started off. So we're going to start off 125. At 125 pounds, Team Chestnut selected Eddie Ventresca. At 125 pounds, Team Romero selected Nick Bouzakis. At 133 pounds, Team Chestnut selected Jax Forrest. Team Romero at 133 pounds selected Marcus Blaze. Team Chestnut at 141 pounds selected Sergio Vega. Team Romero at 141 pounds selected Braden Davis. We're going to move on to 149 pounds. Team Chestnut selected Ethan Styles. Team Romero selected Caleb Titus. We're going to move on to 157 pounds. Team Chestnut selected Antoine Taylor. At 100 and Team Romero selected PJ Duke. We're going to move on to 165 pounds. Team Chestnut selected Mikey Caliendo. Team Romero selected Joey Blaze. We're going to go ahead and move on to 174 pounds. Team Chestnut selected Alex Fundungo. Team Romero selected Patrick Kennedy. We're going to go ahead and move on to 184 pounds. Team Chestnut selected Max McAnally. Team Romero Team Romero selected AJ Ferrari. We're going to move on to 197 pounds. Team Chestnut selected Rocky Elam. Team Romero selected Sonny Sasso. And here's where we're going to move on to that 285 pound. Team Chestnut selected Younger Bastia. And Team Romero selected AJ Ferrari. So those are the squats. As you all know, I lost the women's by 2 points. So what's up for grabs right now is very well considerably the overall. So I would like you all to comment, what is the tiebreaker? If I win this men's, we need a tiebreaker. My idea was that was thrown around for this is that we count up you count up the criteria. How many turns, how many tech falls, you count up the criteria. How many takedowns, how many escapes total, through the men's and women's. It'll take some time, but, you count it up and you say, okay, we're going to go off of criteria and then say, okay, tie-breaking criteria, or if we should just select another event to draft from. I was kind of thinking World Team Trials is one we could probably draft up for, but, I'm going to leave it up to the fans and we're going to adapt that in the coming years forward. Listen, I think this is a really good squad. I know I selected Eddie Ventresca, but I think Nick Bouzakis is going to win. And I did that because, I wanted to make it interesting, but I also wanted to win. As Team Romero drafted very well for the women's. Because when you saw me early on, and that's what was the big mistake. A lot of people ask me what went wrong. Well, first off, in day one, I had two wrestlers in the consolations. Like, let's start there. And that really made the difference for me. I had two wrestlers in the consolations. And when you have two wrestlers in the consolations, that's when I immediately knew I wasn't going to win. When I saw I got two wrestlers in the consolations, he didn't have not one. Wrestled very well. He drafted very well, and they wrestled very well. And, with these two teams going on, I know it's that season where everybody's doing the draft. So this year, we put it out there early. So for the people we don't have, the weigh-in fans can go ahead and pick who they want to pick and see how their self is done and obviously see where you score out and post your scores. And we got no problem. Obviously, you'll beat us, but you won't be in the hunt for the trophy like both of us are. But don't worry. We're still working on that, A lot of people started throwing their ideas around after last episode. We talked about that. Like, what should we do in terms of it? Some people said we should do like a little ring. But I said, you want something that could be really nice. So, I had some ideas that I jotted down that I was very well going to look into. But a lot of people are putting their ideas on what we should have done for a trophy. the big wrestler, um, the wrestling trophy. But some great people threw some really good ideas out that we're checking out, which is pretty cool. But nonetheless, these are the two squads, and this is what we got buried down to for the mental wrestler. For all those getting ready to wrestle, back on the mental wrestler, all those getting ready to wrestle states, anything that you're getting ready to wrestle your state tournament, or if you're some of the littlest ones, the little ones, obviously you're not up to kid states yet, but it's coming. Um, this is gonna be good. I think this year's Atlantic City for New Jersey. I think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be cutthroat. I don't think it's gonna be straightforward. I think there's gonna be some upsets. I think some of those younger seeds are gonna make some noise. I think we're gonna see a lot of threes and fours making noise. And I say that because it's one of those things where it's gonna get interesting. It very well is gonna get interesting. And I know a lot of people this is what some people I don't know how this came about, but we got a lot of questions in terms of will we ever draft for high school states? No, that would never be the third tiebreaker because it just it's just no. No. So we're answering that very simply. No, we're not going to be ever drafting for high school states. That's not something we would ever do. That we're not going to do. I know a lot of people thought that was the speculatory. No, no, we're not going to be drafting for no high school states. I know everybody wanted to know if that was a thing or not. No, we're not going to be drafting for no high school states. I don't know who tossed and threw that around, but no, there will not be no drafting for high school states from either of us. So I just wanted to make that clear. We're not drafting for no high school states, but we sure will be following New Jersey states, and please do all the other states. I know some of them have already been completed. A lot of them have reached out and said, hey, can you watch? We listen. This is wrestling. This is the biggest wrestling season, as we call it, because this is where we're watching multiple states and all the stuff, and watching as many states as we can. And but my favorite always is to watch New Jersey, and I'm ready for New Jersey states because it's gonna get good. For some of the weigh-in supporters that are gonna be wrestling, the hopes is that you get a state title. And I think it's gonna be interesting. But that's why I say the mental wrestler right now. This is what if anybody's learned anything from NCAA is don't worry about who's what. So don't worry about how many times that guy has beat that guy because we all know how many times Dean Peterson has upset somebody at NCAA's. How Dean Peterson beat Royce Spratley earlier in the year, and when they got to dual meet, not so much. So we talk about that, and that's what I'm saying is that's what I'm saying is very, 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 very crazy. Very, very crazy. But let's go ahead. I'm as I'm yeah. State starts today, y'all. So yep, so that'll be real interesting. I'm pulling the brackets up for those for the jerseys. For the Jersey fans. I'm gonna get those brackets up. Take a look at this men's. Wow. It's gotten bigger now, huh? Well, I think it's the same as it always has been, but I think it's just with Flow's new platform, the way they got stuff working, it looks nice. But yet alone, this is going to get interesting. It's looking good. It's looking good. It's looking good. So my favorite to watch here, I think my favorite men's weight is going to be 150. I think there's the most noise is going to be made at that 150. I think at the 150, there's some names up here that I think can make a lot of noise. If we're going off of that, I think should get pretty well. That's gonna look good. Um, should be really cool. Really cool. All right. And just to cover the last of my questions, what will be my favorite weight class for women's? And because I know the Jersey fans, they want to know what's my favorite. And I think what I thought was going to make the most noise. So I was talking about that 126. And that's what I thought. That's the truth. That's what I thought. And that's something that could make a lot of noise. I thought that would be interesting, fairly interesting. But it should get fairly interesting the next way to go. It's gonna get interesting. But nonetheless, this is me bringing you the best anything I can bring you at this point. But those were my two favorite weights, so those are the two I'm gonna watch the most. Um, because those are what I like to call my two favorites. So that's uh that's what I like. So that's the hand to hand. And I know many will ask, did I pick those weights due to is there fans of the weigh-in in those weights? No, I did not pick both those weights for fans of the weigh-in. I just picked them as the most. Um, if anything's gonna go, if seeds are gonna lose, it's gonna be over there. That's why I picked it. But nonetheless, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It gonna be good. It's gonna be good. But that's why I picked it. To be honest, those are nice. So we look at ourselves there and we wonder what's gonna go. But don't worry. Don't worry. It will get done. So that's the best piece of advice I could give you is that don't worry so much about what somebody's what is what. Just worry about the what you can do, and that's the time it takes you to prove why you're there. You know, it's a lot of good things that can go on. So I want to touch that as New Jersey State's has started. So by the time this video goes up, obviously they would have all wrestled, but we had the same problem last year, and you just got on us for that. You said, hey, you should have probably gave them the good luck a week before. Yes, but the problem is that when we do it a week before, um, they were all in regions last week, so you're giving everybody good luck when some of them might not even make it. Two states, they might not punch their ticket. And the suggestion, finally, um, last year also was to do the episode a day before, air our episode Wednesday, like we did with our NCAA pick. But we didn't. That's kind of on me. But nonetheless, we'll have it fixed for next year. We will not fall for that. We will not fall for that. That's something that we will not fall for. We will not falter in any way. So, you know, so that's one thing that I like to say is that we have not faltered there. You know, that's the best way I like to say it. You know, and that's the best way to go. Now, somebody, I don't know how this came out, but they asked me uh, to a question because I'm just now looking at it. Do I think they asked me something about Della Barton? I think let me look at it again. It says, "Will Della Barton do their best wrestling down at States with having a full roster?" Listen, I consider Della Barton right now the Kel Sanderson of Jersey wrestling. The same way Kel Sanderson is. I very well think they went down. They were 14. I think all 14 are gonna place. I'm not kidding. I really to myself believe all 14 are gonna place. I'll be surprised if they don't. I don't know how this became a question, but it's like you guys ask me questions everywhere. You guys are always asking me questions that have like they spanned. They're very weird questions, but like some of them are, and then like I try to answer them the best way I can. And then there are times that like you'll send a question 4 or 5 times, say, "Hey, this is the fourth time I sent this question, you haven't answered it," and I'm like, that's things like that where I feel bad because I'm like, damn, you sent a question 4 times and I didn't see it. So I get on myself for that. But that one I kind of was like, hey, you think, well, if you think it, you think it. You think it, and you think it, I believe it. So I don't really get that upset. I don't really get upset. So it should be some good wrestling though. 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 I do believe some good wrestling is gonna come out of what comes to a lot of this. I think it should be real interesting. I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm sure this is gonna get interesting. I think it's gonna get real interesting. I think it's gonna get interesting in terms of everything we can do. Let's see if Flo will be down in the joint. It doesn't look like it, but nonetheless, I think this wrestling gonna get interesting. Um, if anything, I think it's gonna get interesting. No matter how it's gonna happen, I think it's gonna get interesting. Um, I do think it'll get interesting. I know a lot of people. You know, I think in this terms of wrestling season, everybody wants me to give myself a grade. That was also asked. Um, I don't think I don't think myself I did well with my keeping up of wrestling this year. I'm gonna be honest with all of these. I don't think I did well. And I know I could have done better, and I probably should have, and I understand that I could. And moving forward, I will do a little better, but I know what I got to do come next year and all of that jazzy stuff that I know what I got to do come next year and keep up a little better. I feel like I didn't watch as many college matches this year and all of that stuff, but it's like I said, I tried to really, we had a good this year. We covered last year we covered a lot of mental wrestler, and that was a lot of good stuff. And I try to provide, the best of my opinion because, in no way, shape, form am I a professional when it comes to the mental at all. But, those were some of the things that I noticed in some of my best wins that helped me saying, hey, I don't care if he's third ranked, fourth ranked, fifth ranked, or even if you're 2 seed, 1 seed. I have to do my wrestling as if you're just somebody else, another opponent in the way of to accomplish this dream, that dream. That's just kind of how I looked at it. And sometimes I thought of it the best way. Sometimes I did not. And, and I say that because there will always be that time when people think of stuff in the best ways and in the not so best ways. And that's just what I like to say. It's just some stuff is good, some stuff isn't. And that's what I like to say. I think that some things are good, some things are not. And that's what I like to say. It's just that, like, some things are, some things are not. And that's just the best way they can be, you know? That's the best way I would like to provide to you. So I don't know who wants to take that as they ever so wish, but that's the best thing I can give for you is that I've always went into anything trying to be better, but obviously you just know I wasn't no huge wrestler. I wasn't nationally ranked. I wasn't what I should be. If everybody understands, I just wasn't that big, and it's okay. Not all. A lot of the other podcasts they look at, you have to understand. Some people are not like crazy. I don't know. Some of them I look at not crazy huge. And sorry, y'all. I'm gonna give y'all the yawninitis. That's what I like to. I always call that the yawninitis. One person yawns and hey, everybody's yawning. I'm sorry. And I just like to say that they're not always that big in terms of me. I know I've started to notice that, but like also one of the first things I know is I try to do the best I can. With that being said, so either way, we're in the end of this episode. So to everybody that is stuck through this far, thank you. We are in the end of this episode. We are very well in the end. So please like, comment, subscribe, and share. I would like you all to like, comment, subscribe, share because this is where we're at. This is really where we're at this point, and best I can tell you is like, comment, subscribe, share. This is The Weigh-In by Benoit Chestnut and the occasional pop in Sebastian Romero. And this is all I have for you. This is all I got. So that being said, that's it. Weigh-In out.
The Weigh-In, where stories ignite.